To order this meeting of the First Five Sacramento Commission for Monday, December 3rd, 2018. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll and establish a quorum?
Dave Gordon.
Here.
Beth Hassett.
Here.
Terrence Jones.
Here.
Olivia Kasiri.
Here.
Bruce Wagstaff.
Here.
Scott Moak.
Here.
Donna Snaringer.
Here.
Steve Wertz.
Here.
Lee Turner Johnson.
Here.
Kathy Kossick.
Here.
Terry Porter.
Here.
Christina Elliott.
Here.
Patrick Kennedy. Phil Cerna.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you.
This meeting of the First Five Sacramento Commission is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel, on the Comcast, Consolidated Communications, and AT&T UVerse cable systems. This meeting is closed caption and webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. Today's meeting will be repeated Wednesday, December 5th at 2 p.m. and Sunday, December 9th at 2 p.m. on Channel 14. Members of the audience wishing to address the Commission may sign a speaker slip at the kiosk located in the back of the room. Please include the agenda item number that you wish to address and bring the completed form to me. Please speak into the microphone when addressing the Commission and state your name for the record. If you have any electronic devices, please put them on silent or turn off now. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Will you please rise and join me in the pledge?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I want to welcome everyone again to this afternoon's First Five Commission meeting, and again invite anyone that is here to speak on any of the items on our agenda to please fill out a speaker slip. They're located at the back of chambers. And if you can complete that, get it to our clerk. We'll make sure that you're called in the appropriate order. We do have a 3-minute limit on speaking, and that's in place so that everyone that wants to address the commission has the opportunity to do so. Looks like we have a pretty good crowd here, hopefully to hear some good news, which I think we're going to here this afternoon. But without further ado, Madam Clerk, first item, please.
Approval of October 1st, 2018 draft action summary.
Okay, any member of the commission wish to make any changes or any comment on it? If not, entertain a motion. Moved by Commissioner Jones.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Moak. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, next item, please.
Public comment on non-agenda items.
Okay, again, members of the public here in chambers are certainly welcome to address us on any item that's on our agenda or any item that's not on our agenda. I do have 2 speaker slips, so anyone that wants to address the commission on any item that's not on the agenda, there's still time. You can complete a speaker slip and again give it to our clerk, and I'll call you in the order that it's received. The first up on a non-agenda item is Lisa Matthews. Bring the mics in, there you go. We want to hear you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Lisa Matthews, Breastfeeding Program Coordinator with the Sacramento County WIC program. I just wanted to follow up with a newsletter that was created in terms of our breastfeeding support services. The newsletter was passed out to you right before this meeting. The newsletter was created in response to our sustainability efforts, but also in result of our conversation last commission meeting to provide those statistics to the commission. So I just wanted to present that as a follow-up to you today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could be the best name ever for a newsletter, by the way. The Droplet. Well done.
Okay, Gina Robertson.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thanks for
afternoon.
giving me some time to speak. I'm with the Health Education Council, and I am here speaking today because we would like to honor Commissioner Moak. He won our Healthy Selfie contest.
Did I?
Yes.
Oh.
The overall winner and we have a picture so we can put it up. The Health Education Council cultivates health and well-being in low-income communities,
Oh,
and Scott, Commissioner Moak was presented his Healthy Selfie, really about health and mental health, well-being, and promoting being with ones that you love. And this is his totally cute, adorable daughter, Evan.
Let's be real, she won the award. Come on.
So we have a little award for Scott. It's just a Health Happens Together t-shirt, a gift certificate. It also has 2 tickets to the Kings, which I'm sure he really needs.
Figure out something to do with those.
Yeah, but I just wanted to take this opportunity, one, to thank Scott for all of his support and really helping to promote health and well-being in our community by participating in the Healthy Selfie Contest. I do have community impact reports to pass out to each of you, so you can just learn a little bit about what the Health Education Council has done over the last year. We are in over 200 classrooms in the Twin Rivers School District, and we have served over 12,000 children, had done 1,900 health screenings and referrals. We have supported 38,000 families and entrepreneurs, over 700 at-risk youth with mentoring and life skills programming, and definitely we have several programs like Walk with Friends and distribution of produce in communities and parks that need to be activated. So thank you very much, Commissioner Moak, for your
thank
support.
you. Yes, I'll come
and I'll
grab
bring
let
this
me
up
grab
to you.
Yeah.
You already have a picture.
That is the best picture. I can't.
Why don't you stand on the other side and have someone take it from the staircase down there?
Okay.
There you go.
Here we go.
Sorry to hold up the meeting.
Sorry.
For my words.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gina. Okay, I don't have any other speaker slips for items on non-agenda matters, so we're going to move on with the balance of our agenda here. So next item, please.
Executive Director's Report.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
We have a very exciting meeting today. All kinds of good things happening. A couple things from the Executive Director's Report to highlight. The 4 staff will attend the First 5 Associations Summit next week in Southern California, and it's a 3-day gathering dedicated to increasing the strength of our network strategy that we've talked to you about. Another cool thing last month, Commissioners Sneeringer and Cerna and I participated in a child care hearing that Sacramento City Council member Eric Guerra convened to really bring together a group of experts in the community to talk about the lack of childcare in the city and to work on some recommendations for things that the city could do as a governing body to increase access to quality childcare for Sacramentans. So cool, great start of that conversation, and we're hoping other cities will also want to do something like this, and First 5 would definitely support them in that effort. There is a flyer in front of you on our 20th anniversary celebration, which we're calling Raise Up Sacramento. It's a sort of a direct call out to our elected officials and our business partners to join us in the work of raising healthy and happy kids ready to succeed. We'll present 3 unique High Five awards at this event. To employers who have done innovative things and created innovative family-friendly policies in their businesses. And we will also recognize a couple of businesses who are partnering with us to sustain some critical services for kids as our money declines. So sort of a sustainability award. And then we'll also honor an elected who is passionate about improving access to high quality childcare in his city. Wonder if you can figure out who that might be. Our goal at this event is to have at least a third of the attendees be from the business community. And for that, I thank you so much to those who have sent in their contacts, their business contacts to us. I'm reaching out this week personally to each of those that you've provided and telling them about our event and personally making an ask for them to attend. Finally, this is the first time that the commission has sought sponsorships for any event to help us in keeping with our sustainability theme and not spending our very precious first $5 on events. We're looking to bring in sponsors. To that end, we have First Five California has contributed nearly $10,000 to our event this year, very similar to what they did for our town hall meeting in 2016. And we have a continued partnership with First Five California and the association with our Certified Sustainable program. They will both, the executive directors, Camille Mabin and Moira Kenny, will both be joining us in January to meet all of our contracted providers and talk to them about what's happening at the state level as far as sustainability efforts, and to further discuss the network strategy and partnerships that are being made there to help offset the declining Prop 10 dollars and building new partnerships to keep services going and to streamline services. We will have our third annual Pride and Joy Baby Shower on February 23rd from 11 to 2 at the Fruit Ridge Community Collaborative. So please mark your calendars. You'll get an invite, but we would really love to have commissioners there. It's a very joyful event. And finally, in your packet, there is a copy of our 2019 long-range calendar so that you can see sort of a snapshot of when our meetings are and the various topics that we'll address at those meetings. And if there are any questions, I will be happy to take those.
Any questions for Julie? Don't see any.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Next item, please.
Advisory Committee update and appointment of 6 new members.
Okay. Mr. Silva?
Good morning to all. I'm going to be talking, again, let me back up. Robert Silva, Chair, the First Five Advisory Board of Sacramento County. I'm going to talk about our November 9th meeting. Of course, we always started off with our get to know you or our ACES type of activity. We were making more of a point to get to know each other on, I wouldn't say a personal level, but per se to know a little bit of background about us. So we did that a little bit, and I'm not exactly sure what we shared this time. What did we share this time? Was it our background?
Favorite movie,
that's right.
book or theater show, and why, and what brings us the passion to work with First Five.
So we got some very interesting answers on that. So learned a little bit about each other. As you know, you will be filling, I believe, 6 positions today. Parent, grandparent, oral health, immigration, populations, and preschool. Very excited about that. We do need some more representation now. We need Disability Advisory Commission, Adult and Aging Commission, Human Services Coordinating Council, and Foster Care. So, of course, Julie and her staff are always working on that, but us as committee members are also going and reaching out into the community to pull people we've worked with that we found would be interesting. Like, for example, we have one person on our board that was a past Head Start parent that had worked extensively on our boards, and now she's working for First Five. So we're going to keep doing that. Also, we talked a little bit about the new home visiting program with CalWorks and the funding, the $3 million in new home visiting funds. And what we found interesting about that is First Five's involvement, the 5% administration charge, where they're going to be administrating, and we thought this was a good idea because sometimes you get these funds and you need somebody there to help you with that administrative process. So why not take somebody that has done it for decades and help you through that process? So we were very, very, very excited about that, and we're looking forward to that being implemented. We talked a little bit about the 20th anniversary, of course, to honor all of you, to honor community, to honor business. I myself am going to be attending, and I know Julie was making sure to encourage our committee to attend as well too. I wouldn't miss it. It's going to be like a lot of fun. I'm also a Kings fan. Go Kings, right? So going to be there. Hey, we got a better team this year. So anyway, And what we found interesting is why it's being done, to strategically reach out to business community and our elected officials, to sort of get our name out there. I think, when I was past sitting on a sustainability, a lot of it is about getting out there and letting people know really what we do. You'd be amazed to think that first 5 you would know, but really a lot of times it can be somewhat vague. So not only to let them know, but to honor people in the community as well, too. Had a really, really good conversation on the 2020 census. We did not know that Julie leads a committee specifically on targeting the increase in 0 to 5-year-old count. As we know, and I know from my other life, and is that a lot of times counts will identify, if you identify, that means services and funding a lot of time. And unfortunately, a lot of people are not being identified. So we found that to be very inspiring that she would take that on. And then, let's see, discussion on our appointments to a First 5 committee. We have some new blood coming in. We have changed up, and it's not that we don't thank everybody that was on these committees, but it's nice to change it up once in a while. So we have some new members, especially on sustainability. We have a very exciting new person coming in that has worked on policy in the past, so she'll be a very, very good person to serve on this board. Last but not least, we had a presentation from the Maternal Mental Health Collaborative, Jessica Porton. This is the chair. From this, we had requested that we get a presentation from the Child Death Review team to sort of get an update on that, because we know that there is some progress being made. We'd like to hear it. So is there any questions on that? Okay, well, I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. We will see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Next item, please.
You have to vote to appoint the new members.
Oh, right. We actually have action with that one.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are appointing, was it 6 individuals?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Second?
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Wagstaff, second by Commissioner Hassett. Let's do a roll call vote, please.
Dave Gordon,
Aye.
Beth Hassett,
Aye.
Terrence Jones, Olivia Kasiri,
Aye.
Bruce Wagstaff,
Aye.
Scott Moak,
Aye.
Phil Cerna.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Great, and congratulations to those 6 individuals, and we're going to thank you in advance for your service. Now we'll take the next item.
Evaluation Committee update.
Thank you. I will try to make it short. At our last meeting, we did not have a quorum. However, we did have our standard reports from our evaluation contractors, and we spent the bulk of the meeting focusing on the RAACD report that we're going to hear later, trying to check the data and be comfortable that we were ready to go on that. So I think we'll hear a lot more about that later. So. And otherwise, I think we need to maybe just work with commission staff on, on attendance so that we can make sure that we have a quorum. At some points, we need to take action as a committee, and can't do that if we don't have the quorum.
We do have 2 new members from the advisory committee coming on board, and so that may make a difference.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Okay, next item.
Financial Planning Committee update.
We did meet on October 4th, and staff reported they're reviewing the Medi-Cal administrative activities claiming process and are working with a local government agency to evaluate the existing software systems that may be streamlined in the future. There were 2 instructional webinars provided to individual entities that are looking at the financial component of the written sustainability plan. The webinars were recorded and are available to anyone who interested in watching them. CAPSI and the Birth and Beyond Collaborative secured a second round of funding of $325,000 from the Board of Supervisors to continue service levels through December 31. And in item 11, as we will discuss in the near future, the Department of Human Assistance applied for $4.8 million in CalWORKS home visiting funding, and DHA intends to use First 5 as a partner, and they oversee the implementation, monitoring, evaluation training, and invoicing for the program as it begins in January of 2019. The fiscal year 17-18 draft audit was provided to the committee and discussed. There were no findings, and this will be item 9 on our agenda. And finally, Prop 10 revenues are usually reported and distributed on a monthly basis. As of our October 4th meeting, the state had not reported revenues due to delays in year-end procedures and a change in their accounting systems.
Great, thank you, Commissioner Gossett. Any questions? If not, we'll go on to the next item, please.
Sustainability Committee update.
The Sustainability Committee met on November 20th, and I can be pretty brief because most of what we discussed was in the Executive Director's report. We would just encourage you to keep in mind the January 8th event. I know that the holidays get very busy, and it's easy to forget those early January events, but we think it's going to be a very exciting evening and look forward to seeing folks there.
Great, thank you. Okay, next item, please.
Nominate and appoint 2019 Commission Vice Chair.
Julie, did you have any comments?
No comments other than to say nobody jumped forward requesting to be vice chair. So I did connect with Commissioner Hassett again, and she is ready and willing to continue her role if it is the will of the commission.
So, you know what happens when no one jumps forward? That looks like you're jumping, you know, you're the only one. So are you willing to take it on again?
My reign continues. Yes.
Very good, very good. Okay, well, I will be pleased to make the motion to nominate, approve Commissioner Hassett as our 2019 Vice Chair. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Roll call vote, please.
Dave Gordon,
Aye.
Beth Hassett,
Oh, yeah.
She can't vote on that.
Terrence Jones, Olivia Kasiri,
Aye.
Bruce Wagstaff,
Aye.
Scott Moak,
Aye.
Phil Cerna.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Okay, next item, please.
Public hearing, review and adopt the First Five Sacramento audit for fiscal year 2017-2018.
Do you want to introduce him?
For this item, we have the independent auditor from BTD to present the report.
Okay, as Eric noted, my name is Carly Ransom. I'm with Vavernick Trine Day & Co., and we are the external auditors who performed the audit of the Commission's financial statements for fiscal year 2018. So our report, which we issue at the end of the audit, is included in page 1 and 2 of the Commission's financial statements, one of the attachments. As you look through the report, it notes that it's management's responsibility to prepare the financial statements, and it's our responsibility to come in and do an audit of those financial statements. So during our audit, we worked with Commission staff and management, and we performed tests to obtain evidence in order to give an opinion on the financial statements, basically noting that they are accurately presented. So as you read through the audit opinion, it notes that we believe the financial statements are materially fairly stated for the year ending June 30th, 2018, and we did not have any findings or deficiencies or other issues to communicate. So in other words, the Commission received a clean opinion on their financial statements. We would like to thank the Commission for their assistance in providing all the documentation needed to successfully perform the audit. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any questions? Okay. This is a public hearing, so I'm going to open the public hearing. Again, invite anyone that wants to address the subject to come on down to the podium, address the Commission. I don't see anyone coming down, and I'm going to close the public hearing. Bring it back to the Commission for comment. If no comment, a vote. Is there a motion? Okay, motion by Commissioner Jones. The chair will second. Roll call vote, please.
Dave Gordon,
Aye.
Beth Hassett,
Aye.
Terrence Jones.
Aye.
Olivia Kasiri,
Aye.
Bruce Wagstaff,
Aye.
Scott Moak,
Aye.
Phil Cerna.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Very good, thank you. Next item, please.
Approve community connection grants.
Great. So staff are recommending that you authorize the executive director to approve the negotiation and execution of agreements between the Child Abuse Prevention Council as the fiscal agent for Community Connections grants, and the 8 Community Connection grantees in the amount of up to $37,385. This is the first round of funding for the 2018 strategic plan period. 8 proposals were received by the deadline of October 1st, and all 8 are being recommended for funding. The total amount of funding for these is up to $37,385, and these funds have already been allocated to our fiscal agent. You all have a chart in front of you with information related to the grants, so you can follow along. And at this time, I would like to introduce the 8 groups and ask them to stand as I call their name. So we begin with, first one is called Be the Bridge to Reading. Yay. Their sponsoring agency is SHRA, Resident Services, and this group will meet weekly at the Alder Grove Community Center, where parents will learn the importance of reading to their children and will have the opportunity to read together as a family and take books home. And group leaders will especially encourage father involvement. Our next group is Bete Seb, which has a sponsoring agency of Bethel, Sacramento Ethiopian Evangelical Church. This group will focus on using play-based learning to aid in developing skills for young children, and parents of the Ethiopian community will also have a place to access information and supportive services for their children and families. They'll meet bi-weekly and encourage biculturalism and bilingualism with the kids. Our third group is Children's Literacy and Culture Project. Somewhere. Okay, there they are. Sponsoring agency is Valley High Library, the Golden Key Chinese School, and this group will meet at local libraries to share Chinese culture and language with their communities, including activities like singing nursery rhymes, doing crafts, and holding events with their children to celebrate Chinese holidays. Our fourth group is Father and Early Child Development Fitness Program. Those are dads right there. We're working with them to identify a sponsoring agency, and this group will meet monthly for father-child enrichment activities that incorporate exercise and early childhood development education in underserved communities. Our fifth group is Galt Friendship Garden. There they are. Our sponsoring agency is the National Human Development Foundation Preschool, and this group will create a community where parents and grandparents together with their little ones learn about cultivation and consumption of healthy foods. Next, let's get messy with Calvary Christian Center. Community members will meet bi-weekly to promote a hands-on sensory learning environment for children that will foster parent-child interactions through science. And next we have Sacramento Education and Art, Navigating the Early Years. We're working with this group to make a connection with an FRC in their neighborhood as the sponsoring agency, and they're going to focus on parent-child bonding through various themes and activities such as art, baby wearing, nutrition education support, and physical movement. The meetings will also incorporate resource sharing to help isolated families get connected. And finally, Taught Art in the Park, with the sponsoring agency of Tiffert Coffee. This group will extend art activities to underserved populations where parents can learn fun and creative ways of bonding with their children. Activities will include healthy snacks, bilingual stories, and taught fitness. And there you have it. We will have a presentation in the next meeting in February. It's sort of 3 years worth of highlights of the Community Connections grants. There have been, with these grants, 48 Community Connections grants funded since 2016. That's it.
Any questions or commentary?
Just to make a quick, just thank you to all of you who are willing. You get extra points if you brought a baby today. So well done for that. But obviously, with some of the resources that we get to allocate on an annual basis out to the community, this is one that many of us have shared a passion for a long time. That's a great stat for those last couple of years. This program hasn't always been met with a warm embrace from a variety of different people, and I'm so happy that it is back to do what its intention is to do, and that's bring people together. Remember that what you're teaching and dads helping people with fitness and teaching Ethiopian and Chinese culture to people who need it more is terrific. But bringing people together to the same place was really the intention of a lot of this in the first place. We know it makes communities safer, it makes people healthier, it breeds a sense of compassion that we need now in this community more than ever. And so I'm so thrilled that all of you have decided, having this cohort, this big of a cohort of grantees is tremendous. It takes a lot of work by First Five staff, so thank you for being willing to do this, but kudos to all of you. I can't wait to hear and see how this unfolds over the next year and couple years, so thank you.
Okay, and we do need to take a vote on this, correct?
Yes, you need to vote.
Okay, so with that.
Gladly make a motion.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Moak.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hassett. Roll call vote, please.
Dave Gordon,
Aye.
Beth Hassett,
Aye.
Terrence Jones, Olivia Kasiri,
Aye.
Bruce Wagstaff,
Aye.
Scott Moak,
Aye.
Phil Cerna.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Terrific. All right.
You don't need to stay. You're not going to hurt our feelings. You have work to do. You have babies to put it down for naps, so don't.
All right, next item, please.
Approve revenue agreement with Sacramento County DHA in the amount of $4.8 million and authorize a contract with the Child Abuse Prevention Center to implement the CalWorks Home Visitation Initiative.
Great.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I need to recuse myself because I am privy to additional information about this RFP that the other commissioners do not have.
Okay, so Commissioner Kasiri will excuse herself. Any other members of the commission need to recuse themselves?
I would suggest that Commissioner Wagstaff,
I was wondering about that.
because of his oversight of the Department
I
of
asked
Human
the question.
Assistance.
Okay, thank you.
With their recusal, then Terry Porter and Kathy Cossack will be voting.
Thank you.
Great. I'm very pleased to bring you this item today for your consideration. I'm asking for your approval to enter into a revenue agreement with Department of Human Assistance, fondly referred to as DHA, for the $4.8 million. And then for the time period, an 18-month time period of January 1st, 2019 through June 30, 2020. And then I'm also asking for your approval to execute an expenditure contract with CAPC, Child Abuse Prevention Council, in the amount of $4,560,000 to implement that home visiting program over the same 18-month period. So just for a little background, these new home visiting dollars are from the California Department of Social Services, and they will be provided to DHA at some point this month. So we're a little bit ahead of the ball, but the Board of Supervisors will be looking at this item at their next week's meeting, and we needed to get in before that, since we don't meet again until February. So these funds are to be used to provide home visiting specifically to CalWorks recipients, with the goal to support positive health, development, and well-being outcomes for the mothers and babies, and to what else? Oh, to and to expand the child's future educational, economic, and financial opportunities, and to improve the likelihood that they will exit poverty. So back in August, DHA conducted a competitive bid process, the result of which awarded CAPC with a contract to coordinate and implement this program as an extension of their Birth and Beyond program. And so, as I said, due to the timing issue, This isn't going to the Board of Supervisors. So I'm asking you today as sort of a contingent approval, assuming that the board does allow DHA to accept the money, which we think is pretty solid. So the 4.8 million, I just need to say, this was based on the RFA that the Department of Social Services provided to each of the counties. It gave an allocation, they're calling it a minimum allocation guarantee to each county, and 4.8 million was Sacramento County's minimum allocation based on the CalWORKs population. So it could go higher than this, but we don't expect it to be lower than this right now. And we find out for sure, hopefully soon, later this month. As you know, Commissioners, First Five currently contracts with CAPC and provides coordination and oversight and evaluation in the database system and evaluation of the outcomes data. So we would like to use our expertise with Birth and Beyond to streamline and increase the efficiencies with the DHA funding. Much as we did just at the last meeting with our contract with Department of Child, Family, and Adult Services. This is just another example of First Five strengthening our relationships with our county departments to build funding and infrastructure for 0 to 5 services in the county. And in fact, CAPC will enter the CalWORKs data into our Persimmon system, and with the use of a single system, we'll be able to show results at that greater, larger impact, regardless of funder. We can show it by funder, but we can also show the greater impact of Birth and Beyond across funding streams. First Five has negotiated a 5% fee for the contract monitoring and oversight, which amounts to $240,000 over the 18-month period. And these funds will be used to fill a vacant program planner position that we have and to fund a portion of our new accounting technician position that will be hired in 2019. The recommended actions are contingent upon the board, so we may need to come back to you if it's for more than 4.8 million, and we would do that. The new funding will strengthen families and prevent child abuse for approximately an additional 4,355 children during the 18-month period. So I am asking for your approval to enter into these contracts.
Great, thank you. Any questions for our Executive Director? I know we have a couple of commissioners that are in the queue here. We'll start with Commissioner Sneeringer.
I'm very excited to see this come forward, having watched this move through the state legislature. And I just wanted to say how pleased I am to see this coming in a leveraged way with our existing home visiting programs. And I know that as different funding streams become available, it's critically important to our sustainability efforts to try to maximize what we're able to do. So I just really appreciate all the work that went into making sure that this continued those efforts.
Commissioner Wirtz.
Thank you. Just a question then. In part, this is a backfill for the First Five losing its money as part of the cliff and so on. So that, as noted, something like 1.35 million per year was going to be cut in our new planned budget for First Five. Correct. And so that comes to about 4.05 million. And so this contract will be for 4.5. So it's about a $500,000 more than we would have had if we didn't have the cuts. Am I understanding that right?
It's actually a little bit more because this is an 18-month contract. So for 1 year, okay. It's about $3.2 million, okay. And our cut was about $1.3 million.
Or 1.6.
So it really will allow for expansion of Birth and Beyond.
Okay, and that's what I was going to ask then, if it was, what was going to happen with that. And it does not mean any increase in sites, for example, but rather a support and expansion of their ability to serve more families.
Correct. Staff from Birth and Beyond will co-locate with Department of Human Assistance at various centers throughout the county as they recruit new CalWORKs participants. And the main focus of these dollars is the first 24 months of life for the child, but These dollars are not limited to just 2-year-olds. So once Birth and Beyond shows that they have reached everybody who is available, then they can also use these funds to serve older than 2-year-olds. So there's more flexibility in this funding than the first 5 funding.
And if I could just follow up on that, if I remember what I was going to follow up, I apologize. Yeah, all right, I will hold off.
We're still here.
So, but on that point, I just want to remind the commissioner and the audience too that this is a floor, not a ceiling, right? This amount?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. This is the minimum
And
allocation.
if I could then, it was really about, I apologize, but it was really about, CalWORKs has a variety of resources that are underutilized at the state level throughout the counties, in order of billions, as I understand it, in terms of services for helping families with educational activities, backpacks even, but job preparation and other things. Are we going to be able to look into how we are either fully pulling down the resources available through CalWORKs in addition to this funds? Or could I ask that we explore, I've talked with several of the DSS folks, and I may be mistaken, but my understanding is that there's a large pool of money that we don't take down in terms of wraparound kind of services for people who might be on CalWORKs, from educational opportunities to job opportunities to support for their children, child care, and other services.
Sure, I'll be happy to follow up with our Director of Human Assistance and see if there's a way that we can, this program might actually act as a carrot and entice some people to take advantage of it and then get connected to some other programs and services, so, and thereby use some funding, so.
Well, I'm glad I remembered what I was trying to say, but more importantly too, the Sustainability Committee might look into that as well. I mean, I think my understanding is correct, that there is some funds that we have not drawn down, and that if we do some kind of promotion and outreach and work with our communities, we may find ways to bring that to Sacramento.
Great, thank you.
Commissioner Moak?
I said I wrote it.
Thanks. What's the current rate of Birth and Beyond families who are on CalWORKs? Do we know that? Sure.
Ms. Boxley?
Thank you. Sheila Boxley, Child Abuse Prevention Center. The vast majority of the clients, and it changes a little bit, but most of the clients are on some type of public assistance, and most typically it's CalWORKs, CalFresh, et cetera. So there's a significant overlap, and in terms of the proposal that went to DHA, we were able to identify that overlap, which was part of what we hope will make this somewhat seamless in terms of working with families. But that doesn't mean the families who are currently being served can then be served with these funds, because that's sort of a supplantation issue. But that's possible. And I will tell you, Commissioner Wirtz, that there was very explicit language from the state and then also from the DHA proposal, or pardon me, RFA, that really called out all of those other services, and that everyone in the program who's serving families will be trained by DHA and will become more knowledgeable about CalWORKs and the variety of services that are available. And also, as a part of that, there was a provision for some co-location for people within DHA, so that they could even facilitate it more easily. So we're very hopeful that it will in fact do just what you said. And so that you know, the proposal that went in from Sacramento County was a little bit higher than the allocation, and we know that some counties did not apply at all. In fact, only 42 of them were on the mandatory proposers call. So we still don't know how many that is. That's been delayed at the state, but it's reasonable to expect that the funding might be a higher level than what was originally anticipated.
Commissioner Jones?
Can I follow up with that? Is this the first time we've used CalWORKs funds to enhance our programming for home visitations? And is this a rare thing? It seems to me it's an unusual first-time activity that we've ever had this. So to me, that's just something to celebrate.
Well, it is something to celebrate, and it's actually a reunion because early in the life of Birth and Beyond, DHA was a funder. And during the recession years, funding from the county was decreased. So it's bringing everybody back together again, which is really good because we're all responsible collectively for prevention. And if I can, I just want to give a shout out to the DHA folks and very much to the leadership that Julie has shown in helping to put this together. We're all working fast and furiously right now.
Commissioner Sturringer?
And I just wanted to add that this is an approval for short term, but the state budget agreement last year made this an ongoing allocation. Obviously, every year's budget is a different negotiation, but the intent is for this to be an ongoing service for CalWORKs families. So it's a true sustainability effort in that sense.
Thank you for bringing that up. It's an 18-month request right now, but on the table is 2 one-year extensions, assuming everything goes great in the 18 months. That gets us to, 4.5 years, and then we'll see.
And it had initially had been proposed as a pilot, and that was not how it was adopted. It was adopted as an ongoing.
Perfect.
Thanks, Sheila. Okay, I don't have anyone signed up to speak on this matter, so it's in front of the commission for action. Is there anyone that would like to make a motion?
I'll move.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Dave Gordon.
Aye.
Beth Hassett.
Aye.
Terrence Jones.
Aye.
Kathy Cossett.
Aye.
Terry Porter.
Aye.
Scott Moak.
Aye.
Phil Cerna.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Very good, thank you. Okay. Next item, please.
Presentation, evaluation findings from efforts to reduce African American child death.
And before we get started, I do have about a half dozen speaker slips in hand. Again, especially for those that perhaps arrived a little later than the beginning of the meeting, if you do wish to address the commission, you're certainly welcome to do that. We just ask that you please complete a speaker form, which are located at the back of chambers, and see that our clerk receives it, and then we'll call you in the order that it's received. Thanks.
Great. We have several speakers. Today we're going to start off with Linda Fong-Samara from First Five staff, and she's going to lead the discussion.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. We'll wait just a moment until they queue up the PowerPoint. But as Julie mentioned, I'm Linda Fong-Samara. I'm a program planner for your commission overseeing the health and nutrition areas. I am going to start off the PowerPoint and the presentation this afternoon. So we do have a lot of great information to share, and you'll see a great crowd in the room, a lot of speakers. I'm going to just introduce them along the way. And the reason why you're hearing less from us as staff and more from our partners is because they can really enhance the story and really give you a fuller picture of what's happening day to day and how we're really making, I think, significant changes here in Sacramento County. Oops. Sorry, technical difficulties here.
I think it's the other one. Is there another?
It's the keyboard.
Is there another remote? There you go.
Let's see if it's that or the keyboard.
Thank you. That one didn't work either.
Try the other button on the first mouse. There we go.
There we go. Okay. So before we dive into other presentations, just want to give everyone again a background of how it is that we got here. And as all of you are aware, this commission has been involved since 2012 as both a leader and contributor in this countywide movement. We became involved in the Blue Ribbon Commission on the disproportionate rate of African American child deaths that Supervisor Cerna initiated to really look deeper into the data and really provide some recommendations in response to the Child Death Review Team report that told us that unfortunately for 20 years, African American children have been dying at twice the rate of children of other races. So we knew that something had to be done. And the First of Sacramento Commission was able to get involved. We provided staff support. we helped to put together the report and actually helped develop the charter for the steering committee, which is overseeing the county-wide effort and has really continued this movement forward and making sure that the recommendations didn't just sit in a report on a shelf somewhere. So it's really exciting to see that momentum really come to fruition and really move forward. We went ahead as a commission here at First Five and developed an implementation plan to really put those strategies in action. And when I looked over the numbers, it was really impressive, I think, to say that since 2013, this commission has invested nearly $14 million in this effort. And that is inclusive of our current strategic plan period of 2018 to 2021. But it is a significant investment, and I think it really reflects our important work to focus on providing children ages 0 to 5 with that important start, and all of our work to really do prevention, early intervention, and change the trajectory of children's lives. The strategies that we have chosen really align with the overall county-wide movement, and they have an impact on 3 of the top 4 causes of death and for African American children. And that is due to perinatal conditions, infant sleep-related deaths, and child abuse and neglect. And we're really excited to bring forward to you a report today that reflects some outcomes that we're seeing from our first full 3 years of funding. And that period spans from July 1st, 2015 to June 30th of 2018. Even though we know that there's still a lot of work to be done and we need to continue our efforts, so we also need to continue to track the data. What you'll see later today is we feel pretty excited to say that it looks like we're headed in the right direction. And we know that we are working towards that countywide goal of reducing African American child deaths by 10 to 20% by 2020. So I'll save that for our evaluators to share that great information in the next couple of presentations. Finally, just a little more additional background. In the past, I used to get a lot of questions about First Five Sacramento's role compared to the county, compared to the city, compared to Sierra Health Foundation. How do we fit into this bigger picture? And who's the lead, who's doing what piece? And the answer to that is we are all a part of the solution, we're all a part of the puzzle, and we are all working on something called the collective impact model. So that is the foundation for this countywide work. And really what it is it goes back to that concept of that saying, it takes a village. And this is an example of that. It really does take a village. Collective impact is that structured collaborative where we're working across sectors, where we're breaking down those silos. And we're looking at ways that we can do business differently and how we can look for longer lasting impact and systemic change. And so in trying to kind of show you a visual for how this works, I found a great image online. And so you can see on the right-hand side of the slide, there's kind of a triangle shape, but this is the premise for the collective impact model. And I'm proud to say that I really do think our countywide movement called the Black Child Legacy Campaign is really following this model and is a model for this collective impact work. So as you can see, there are 5 components. In terms of common agenda and common progress measures, we have that in our community. Collectively, we're trying to reduce African American child deaths by 10 to 20% by 2020. But we also have specific measures of change that we're looking for each of the top 4 causes of death. So we're not all taking little pieces, we're not all looking at different measurements, we're all focused on the same exact goals. In terms of mutually reinforcing activities and communications, we're all building up each other's strengths and working with each other's strengths, and we're all collaborating, we're changing the narrative, and we're finding ways to be creative about how we work together. You'll probably hear stories today about how families are being addressed as a whole, because we have agencies that are working as multidisciplinary teams and trying to look at the different ways that families are being impacted and the different ways that we can make things better for those families. And then lastly, we have a backbone organization, which is great because as many of you know, there are oftentimes issues brought forward and everyone's really excited about it and concerned about it and talk about it, and then over time, those collaboratives start to fizzle. Well, with a backbone organization, you have an identified entity with the skills and the ability to really continue the momentum, and we have had a lot of great success with Sierra Health Foundation as the backbone organization. And they're convening regular meetings with the steering committee that's overseeing this effort. They're keeping the ball rolling, working on great communications activities, coordinating community incubator leads that you'll hear about in a little while, but really acting as that central hub for all these wonderful partners to have a meeting point. So on the left hand of the screen, you'll just see some of the partners. There is no way that we could list every single important partner on one slide. But just as an example, there's Sierra Health Foundation, the County of Sacramento, first 5, City of Sacramento, faith-based organizations, health systems, nonprofits, community, neighborhood, parents, youth, you name it, we've got it. And that's the exciting thing, and that's what's making change happen here in Sacramento County. Again, it really is taking a village to make this happen. It's a process, it takes time, it takes learning, it takes patience. But with this collective impact model, we have a great opportunity to make great things happen. So with that said, as I mentioned, we have this big picture. We decided to start this presentation with that in mind. I'd like to invite Chet Hewitt from Sierra Health Foundation and Dr. Natalie Woods-Andrews from the Sacramento County Office of Education. They are the co-chairs of the steering committee on the reduction of African American child deaths. And they're going to give you an update on what's been happening at the steering committee level. After that, I will invite our LPC and our funded partners up to speak specifically to our efforts and our outcomes for perinatal conditions and infant sleep-related deaths. So, any questions for me at this moment?
Questions for? Okay.
Okay, and if we could hold questions for each presenter until the end of their presentation, that would be very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Which clicker do I use? Just click it.
Is that a separate presentation?
Yes, can we cue up the next presentation?
Yeah, they're doing it in the back there. Here we go.
Great, thank you, Linda. Chair Cerna and Commissioners, thank you so much for the opportunity to just share information about the collective impact, as Linda has just mentioned. My colleague, Chet Hewitt, and I are here to represent the Steering Committee on Reduction of African American Child Deaths, and we're just very excited to share with you just brief highlights of the work that we have been doing over this past year. Today we are going to give you just a very brief overview of the work that we have been doing, starting with the work of the community incubator leads, some of our services and resources that have been developed over this past year. We're going to share just some very brief highlights about some of the work specifically of the community incubator leads and how they are working, as Linda mentioned, in multidisciplinary teams, really to make a difference in each of the 7 targeted communities. We also are going to share with you how we have utilized the funding that has been allocated for the steering committee to leverage that funding to really make that investment of a larger impact. And then also we'll be sharing with you some of the next steps in terms of how we move forward in the upcoming year. I would like to just share with you that the Black Child Legacy Campaign certainly has had a great year of impact. We've had an opportunity to reach all 4 of the targeted leading causes of death, as you see identified here on this slide. As we have come before you several times, we've been able to unpack each of those 4 leading causes. They are preventable, and so when it's time to tackle that work, we get very serious about our approach, and you will hear some of that approach today. We've had an opportunity to truly just activate each of the different communities to come together, not only within their own communities, but across the county, to really support each other in order to make this collective impact regarding these 4 preventable causes of death. And then the community incubator leads, as you've heard Linda refer to, really have served as our infrastructure from which to build all of the work that you're going to hear about today. And this happens in each of the 7 targeted neighborhoods. So before we move forward, I think it would really be important for you to see the faces and meet the individuals behind this work, because they are working so hard on our community's behalf to really make a difference in the lives of our children and our families. So I would like to just, at this time, identify the 7 targeted neighborhoods, and when I do that, I would like for each of our communities to stand so that we can acknowledge you today. So if you are from the Arden Arcade area, will you please stand? And remain. Castle Heights, North Sacramento. Foothill Farms in North Highlands, will you please stand? The Fruit Ridge Stockton Boulevard area, will you please stand? Also the Meadowview area, will you please stand? And Oak Park, please stand. And then also the Valley High area, will you also please stand to be recognized? Thank you so much.
Can I interrupt for a second and ask for your indulgence? I'd like all of the representatives from all 7 areas to stand right now and indulge me. I'm going to take a panoramic photo of this.
Wonderful.
All right, well, real still. Very good.
Wonderful. Thank you. And thank you all. They are the heart of this work. They have true stories that they can just share with you about the impact. Not anything that we can even share in this presentation today. It's so broad. So we do want to just thank them for their tireless efforts. As you can see on this particular slide and the information that you have shared, we've shared information with you about some of the services that are provided directly within the Community Incubator Lead, the hubs. And these are some of the resources that have also been shared. So for example, I just want to call out a couple that in the Meadowview area, that over 100 families have received case management services. And that really exemplifies how agencies are coming together because they're supporting the same families. And so there is that warm handoff of making sure that no family falls between the cracks, but that we truly do have a safety net to make sure that families and individuals really are having their needs met by the work that is occurring. And then also in the Arden area, the Arden Arcade area, about 37 families have received the Safe Sleep training. They've also received some type of safe sleeping resource to make sure that their little ones have a safe sleeping environment when they are in their home. And I don't underestimate that because, we're losing a lot of children because of unsafe sleep conditions. And so every life saved is a huge win for Sacramento County. So I just want to thank our Arden Arcade and our Meadowview communities just for those 2 specific examples, but certainly there are many more stories. The Community Incubator Leads serve each of the communities with a broad range of resources, and we're just thankful that many of the partners as well as the Community Incubator Leads are here today. In addition, we do have a huge movement that is occurring throughout our county, and it is a community-driven movement. And we know that building up on the infrastructure of the Community Incubator Leads, as well as everything that has been established through the Black Child Legacy Campaign, really has made a difference in our community. I won't go over this list, and of course it's not exhaustive, but I just do want to call out a couple of things that we've had an opportunity to create a framework to work around the cultural brokers initiatives that have all been put in place. And we know that across many of the resources and the programs that have been funded, there are cultural brokers, and there are many definitions of what that looks like. But we are working very closely with the cultural broker services that have been funded directly through First Five. So we're working with Her Health First, also with WellSpace Health. We're also partnering with the Sacramento Association of Black Social Workers, the Greater Sacramento Urban League, and also our Valley High Community Incubator Lead, South Sacramento Christian Center, to really create a way that we can pilot some of that work in terms of how do we work very closely together so the cultural broker services are seamless. We also have opportunities to jointly present information. Specifically, one example was at the conference focused on safe sleep. And so one of our steering committee members, Dr. Ethan Cutts, who works at the Kaiser Foundation, he's done some phenomenal work in Kaiser and the health systems regarding safe sleep practices, as well as Kelly Todd Griffin from HealthNet. They had an opportunity to jointly present together at a conference. And I think it just speaks to the importance of not working in silos, but how do we continue to come together and work together for this collective impact. So my colleague is going to share information about how we've been able to leverage funding.
Thank you, Natalie. And I can be brief because my colleague has done a heavy lifting for us this year, so thank you very, very much. I want to start by thanking the Commission for its leadership and vision in getting this started, and of course, Commissioner, but also Supervisor Phil Cerna for getting this going several years ago. As someone who's been along for the journey, I can tell you that it really has been impressive. I also want to thank Linda for her incredible partnership, and as well as, we don't often call out the staff who are doing this work under the leadership of Julie and others, but she has been an extraordinary partner, so thank you to Linda for all your input and contribution to this particular work. My role is to talk a little bit about funding. As you can see, we have leveraged funding over the 3 years the program has been in place. Last year, we actually got Cal VIP funding, so we are working on that fourth issue. And we want to be really, really clear that the violence piece is a very important piece. Now, it's often thought about as impacting older children, because that's who's more likely to lose their lives. But many of these older children, who are also young men, are parents. And we talk a lot about ACEs. And one of the most difficult and challenging experience you can have, adverse child experience you can have, is a death by murder of a parent. So as we think about what we do and how we impact that particular cohort, let's not lose sight of the importance of violence interruption, prevention, and response, because there has to be some healing, particularly for young children, that comes behind having an experience like that. I'd also say that what's not on this map, on this chart, is 2 weeks ago, we were actually awarded an Obama Foundation grant from the Obama Foundation in Chicago. That'll come in about $500,000. It too is focused on violence interruption work and mentorship for older age children, with a specific focus on males as well. So we're very excited about where we are. And what I will tell you that in our communication with the foundation, who came and actually did a tour of our sites, was actually hosted by one of our CILs. They said that it was probably the most impressive site, or one of the most impressive sites they've seen in the entire country. So we can all collectively celebrate that as well. I think next up we have a video, and I'm supposed to just say, roll the video, and it's, come on, roll the video.
is in need of a lot of support and resources, and really be able to supply them with opportunities that may not have happened actually if it hadn't been for Black Child Legacy. For us to go out there and to pretend that we know what's going on, we're doing ourselves a disservice. For this to truly be a community-led initiative and campaign, you need your residents at the table to lead and to let us know what they need and where the problems are.
I think whenever you're doing a movement type of work, you really have to ensure that you get the right partners, the right collaborations, and I can honestly say that we have that here.
I know it's been, things like this have been tried before, but never as comprehensive as this.
We didn't have before as a probation department where we can stay in one community, and the Black Child Legacy campaign has definitely allowed that to happen.
So the model that the Black Child Legacy is giving us to say the Urban League come and help us collaborate with the other partners, with the culture brokers, with people in the community, with smaller organizations.
People feel safe enough to open up with us. I love the fact that I'm able to offer more than I could offer if I was at a facility.
It's so far beyond the mission of BCLC, because when you start to build relationships within a community, you start to build community.
We're all gathered as one under one umbrella.
A lot of times that's unusual when you bring people from different backgrounds, different departments and programs, so we're real proud of that. Just looking at the willingness, I think Black Child Legacy campaign is really making a significant change.
This really is a support mechanism that we're using. This isn't just a program. This is a safe, trusted environment where we will support you and not shame you, where we will uplift you and not put you down, and we will connect you and not block opportunities. We want to see you succeed because we care about the families that are here in our community. I know a lot of people in our community may not know what the Black Child Legacy is, but they will. And I hope that it will shed light for the lives that we have ahead of us and for this next generation.
As my co-presenter said, it's impossible to tell the full story, and I think that if you've been with us in this entire journey, you see that we are getting a lot better at not only how we share it with you, but also the impact it's actually having in communities. It's been one of the most extraordinary things I've been a part of in my entire life. And it's because of the people who are here in this room who have done tremendous work confronting a historical issue that we were embarrassed by, but now we can be proud of in terms of our response to it going forward. Clearly, we continue to build on that leadership and that particular legacy as we need to work with our CILs. You should know that you've transformed the way services are delivered. You've seen that part of this collective impact strategy, that there are probation officers and social workers who are stationed in churches and community centers that have given great accessibility to supports and services that families need. So this is, we look very different than the place that we started from. And I think in many respects, as we talk about celebrating the teams, clearly the CILs who have done phenomenal work, but also county folks who have come along and are now willing and excited about being in places that heretofore they were not. And so we are very thankful for those members of our team and partnership as part of this collective impact strategy as well. I just want to close by calling down two folks. I think Ray Green is going to join me, and Les Simmons from South Sacramento Christian Center, and Ray Green from the Robertson Center. And they'll share a few remarks about their own stories to close this presentation out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
My name is Ray Green, part of the Roberts Family Development Center. Proud and humbled and honored to represent the Del Paso Heights, North Sacramento CIL. If you are here, can you please stand? Can we give each and every one of them a round of applause? I say that because although you may hear from just two of us, we truly are a community. And as you read on the back of our shirts, it reads a community rooted in love. So I'm just going to give you a quick mock of that. And through all the adversity, this is truly how we navigate, this is truly how we collaborate, and this is how we coordinate our services to all of the great and wonderful families that we have the privilege to serve. And with that, our efforts this year alone, we've been able to serve over 60 families in our multidisciplinary teams. That deserves a round of applause. And I say that because 60 may not seem like a large number, but I don't want you to look at them as just a number. These are truly individual families whose lives have been changed since they've came apart and since we became a part of their family. We've been able to save the lives for multiple generations, and these are families who have legacy to look forward to, legacy to leave behind, and many dreams and futures that lie ahead of them, so we're extremely proud of that. We also are proud to announce that we are one of the recipients for Sacramento County's Cultural Broker Program, so Margaret right there. Yes. Since the inception, we've been able to serve over 7 families, and just to highlight one point, I know she can do a lot better job than I can. There was a significant family out of one of those families who were servicing homeless issues, a lot of challenges that many of you hear and see every day, which is why you're a part of the commission. But with the wonderful help of our DHA worker, Renita, stand, wave your hand, please. We were able to find permanent housing for that individual and for her family. And as you know, housing is extremely challenging right now, but we were able to change the course of their family. And we don't just leave that family after they leave our building. We've seen them through Turkey, Thanksgiving, and we also are going to be able to give them gifts this upcoming Christmas for them to look forward to. We're also proud to announce that we've been giving out multiple cribs, partnering with all of our Birth and Beyond sites in our neighborhoods and cross collaborations across the city lines as well. I want to leave us with this, again, not to think of just the families as an individual number, but as a legacy, as a branch. Every single network that they're tied to has an opportunity to reduce their trauma, reduce their rate, and be able to reduce the opportunities, even incarceration, and even when it comes to third-party homicide. We're extremely proud to be able to present this information to you and look forward to presenting more to come. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you.
Hi again, I'm Les Simmons, pastor of South Sacramento Christian Center and director for the Valley High CIL. Part of our work, invites us to reimagine what tomorrow looks like and the social responsibility of investing in our future and saving lives, as well as the moral responsibility of saving lives. Part of our mission is to reach one, save one, and I'd like to thank you all for your continued investment in reimagining tomorrow and helping us lift our entire community forward. Standing alongside of me are part of my MDT team, in particular our resource coordinator that I'd love to give the floor to really have some words this morning.
I'm a little shorter than he is. Okay. Take a moment and close your eyes and imagine Black Child Legacy no longer here. I don't know about you, but I can't imagine Black Child Legacy not being here. It has made such a huge impact in our community, not just in Valley High, but 7 other communities, and I truly don't understand why this isn't statewide. That's how impactful this is. Good afternoon. My name is Nanette West, and I proudly represent the Black Child Legacy Valley High area, 95823, 95828 area code, the Simmons Community Center, and South Sacramento Christian Center. Black Child Legacy has played a vital part of health for our African American babies. Its infrastructure has been created for collaboration efforts that data shows that has saved African American lives. Our community is feeling the impact, moving from trauma to healing. The amazing community efforts, unity, organization, and relatable workers make these numbers and reductions possible in all 4 focus areas. Specifically, as a faith-based organization, we have had substantial reduction of funerals in 2018. And I know that may not be a big deal to you, but when you have to do a funeral after a funeral after a funeral, it makes a big deal to us. Because of Black Child Legacy, we are able to collaborate with the Sacramento Kings through our Kings and Queens Rise Summer League program and other organizations to renovate the Simmons Community Center, the old Cascade building, so we can further empower our youth and their families, where we serve over 10,000 youth a year and their families. We invite you all to our re-grand opening in the months to come, and thank you for your time.
So thank you again. The stories that our community incubator leads share are just numerous. We invite any one of you to visit any of the 7 targeted neighborhoods to truly see the work in action. We will continue with the ongoing activities on this particular slide, and I know we are out of our time, so we'll move forward on behalf of the steering committee. We just want to thank you for your continued partnership in this endeavor to make a collective impact. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Chet and Natalie, and all the representatives of the community incubator leads. We cannot do this work alone. So again, round of applause for everybody here. So now that you've been given kind of the broadest picture that's happening county-wide, we wanted to go ahead and transition back to our first 5 Sacramento-funded specific efforts, which again are feeding into and a part of the Black Child Legacy overall county-wide movement. We're really excited to bring forward to you today our 3-year report that was put together by LPC Consulting. And they're going to share with you some of the data about our programs funded specifically around perinatal conditions, including our perinatal education campaign and our cultural broker programs, and also talk about infant safe sleep and some of the progress and outcomes we're seeing in those 2 areas. So I'd like to invite Lynn Kennedy to come and speak. And her team, Tracy and Will, are here as well.
So Linda, before we hear more about some of the data, it's really the critical information that we're interested in, I'm sure the public wants to understand. I just want to say just a real hearty thank you to all the CILs and everyone that has made it such an effective initiative. And as many will recall, back in 2011 when we established the Blue Ribbon Commission, and 18 months later we had the first report from the Blue Ribbon Commission, the overture was, this has to be owned by the community. This is the community's issue. You're gonna get flanked, you're gonna get supported all day long by the First 5 Commission, by the Board of Supervisors. We're gonna be thoughtful about budget, we're gonna be thoughtful about programming, we're gonna hold ourselves accountable, but ultimately the community has to own the challenge and the success. So what we just heard, that segment of the presentation, I think really speaks to that overture, that clearly the community has owned this in a real big way. So I just want to issue my personal thanks.
Good afternoon, commissioners, First 5 staff, audience, members. I just want to say one quick thing about collective impact, and that is it runs a close second to being my favorite evaluation tool, second only to logic models. And those of you who've worked around me know that I preach logic model till the cows come home. So this is such an amazing illustration of what collective impact is about, that it's a case study in many ways. So, and I'd be happy to do that someday. You'll recall that First 5 funded the 3 strategies designed to complement one another, including a community-wide public education and awareness campaign, a more targeted education effort in support of safe sleep practices, and a cultural broker program to provide one-on-one information and support to expectant mothers. So all 3 of these targeted communities most at risk for African American infant deaths. So I'm going to give you highlights from the report. Obviously, you have a copy of the report, and detailed findings are in the report and its appendices. Oh gosh, and I have to click this how?
Yes, right there.
So this first couple of slides covers some of the information and findings from the public education campaign conducted by Runyon Saltzman, or RSE, under contract to First Five for the public education campaign to reduce African American child deaths, to develop a website and coordinate community outreach events. There were 3 goals of the public education campaign: to raise awareness about the disproportionate rate of African American infant deaths in Sacramento County, to connect mothers to local resources and services that support their pregnancies and family well-being, and to promote First Five programs. During that 3 years, there were 2 big campaigns. If My Mom Only Knew, the campaign that ran from May 2014 through June 2016, and the Stress campaign, which started in September 2016 and is still running. These 2 campaigns place over 3,100 ads throughout the targeted communities in places like transit interiors or buses, as well as shelters like bus stops, convenience stores, affordable housing, laundromats. And RSE estimated these ads might have been viewed as much as 160 million times. There were also a couple of radio campaigns, or a couple of spots, campaigns on the radio, with radio spots on KSFM 102.5, which reached approximately 59 to 62% of the targeted audience, with as many as 14 times for each person. RSE also developed a website, the SAC Healthy Baby website. During the 3 years, this website tracked well over 12,000 visits, averaging almost 2 minutes on the website per visit, compared to the industry standard of about 1.5 minutes per visit. Between fiscal 15-16 and fiscal 17-18, the website visits increased by approximately 230%. This is a result of using paid social media to place ads on Facebook, which was a very effective way to steer people to the website. So during this time, there were over 1,200 people visited the Find Care Near You page, which helped them locate services. Over 750 people visited the Taking Care of Baby web page, which included tips and resources for the baby's arrival. And more than 600 people visited the Let's Get Started page, which is a directory and additional information to support pregnancy and healthy outcomes. There were also community campaign events, and they're listed here. And individually and collectively, these 3 events provided widespread outreach and promotional materials to direct pregnant women and attendees to programs like the Cultural Brokers Program and the Safe Sleep baby classes. So this is the overarching community education campaign that was sort of the umbrella of reaching out to the community. The Safe Sleep Baby education campaign, which CAPSI will elaborate on, I think after me, is a specific targeted education campaign that specifically looks at decreasing infant sleep-related deaths in Sacramento County in a culturally sensitive way to reduce the rates of death among African American infants. The components of that campaign are listed here. Again, there's more detail in the report. And I just want to call attention to the last one, the partnering with local hospitals. CAPSI was able to reach all 8 of the hospitals that deliver babies born to Sacramento residents. So that's an opportunity for systemic change that'll live well beyond this initial campaign. So here's some of the findings based on the data that CAPSI collects from program participants, reflecting changes in knowledge and safe sleep knowledge and self-reported behaviors. This one specifically targets changes in practices or behaviors, and it shows fairly dramatically some changes from the kind of behaviors that people self-reported before and after they took the class in Safe Sleep Baby practices. So I just want to, again, kind of call attention to the changes that showed up in the surveys at the end. There also was a statistically significant increase in the number of correct answers on a questionnaire about knowledge of safe sleep practices. So these needles are moving on both levels. The remaining third strategy that's part of this triumvirate was the Cultural Broker Program, which provided culturally relevant outreach, education, and one-to-one support to pregnant African American women, with emphasis on those living in the targeted neighborhoods shown in this map that were designated as highest risk for African American child deaths. As you know, First Five funded 2 organizations to provide cultural broker services: Her Health First, which ran the Black Mothers United program, and WellSpace Health. During the 3 years, these providers served 958 African American women, nearly all of whom consented to be included in the evaluation. These women had an intake between July 1, 2015 and June 30, 2018, and they all received at least one educational visit or a weekly check-in that lasted a minimum of 30 minutes. And over 2/3 of the women lived in the neighborhood shown here on the map. Oops, that's backwards. How do I go back? The other?
Previous.
Sorry, Julie. Do we want to go back to about the participants?
Yeah, there's some, there you go.
Oh, sorry. Out of my comfort zone here. So the next couple of slides will give you some information about the participants in the Cultural Broker Program. So this is showing gestational age at the time of program entry. So 38% of the women who entered the program came in during the first trimester of their pregnancy. 45% entered in their second trimester, and 17% came in during their third trimester. Now, this is stating the obvious, but the later they come into the program, the less time there is to have an impact to work with them and provide services. As a result of that sort of obvious recognition, we also, First Five actually helped design or there was a creation of 3 tiers of service, basically to differentiate between sort of low, medium, and high service levels. So almost 1/3 of the women delivered in Tier 1 completed services. An additional 2/3 completed Tier 2 services, and 4% completed fewer than 3 visits. So you can see these graphs sort of correspond where the highest proportionality shows up in the sort of the mid-level, the people who come in the second trimester and get the Tier 2 level of services. Some other information about the families who were served, or the women who were served, has to do with the risk assessment. This graphic shows the top 3 psychosocial risks, the top 3 health risks, and then the kinds of referrals that they got as a result of the risk assessment. Without reading the details here, psychosocial, just to put a point on it, the psychosocial risk factors present the kind of challenges that prevent folks from getting to prenatal care or meeting other basic needs. Health risk factors can influence both the pregnancy and the health of the baby. And then cultural brokers provide not only education and information, but they actually support getting women to community resources. So that's reflected in the kinds of referrals that were made. And of course, the Safe Sleep Baby training and the crib provision is one of the highest referrals, given its close relationship to the other First Five program. So this is a slide that gives you some overview about the participant birth outcomes. And this reflects just the number of births that actually happened during this time frame. So there were 628 babies born to the women participating in the Cultural Broker Program over the 3-year period. 85% of those were born at healthy gestational age and birth weight. Still 14% had poor birth outcomes, with some having both preterm and low birth weight. And then during the 3 years, there were 14 sets of twins who are at higher risk for being born both earlier and weighing less than single births. This slide provides some findings to better understand the risk factors that were most associated with the 87 women who had poor birth outcomes. Over half had at least one identified psychosocial risk factor. Almost half had at least one identified medical risk factor. Almost a third of them entered the program in their third trimester, resulting in less time for intervention and prevention services. And then 22% had a condition associated with a medical condition associated with the pregnancy. In a regression analysis, we found there were two significant predictors of birth outcomes. The first was the volume of weekly perinatal education visits that the mothers received. Mothers who received at least 18 prenatal education visits were almost 4 times more likely to have a baby that was born a healthy gestational age and weight compared to the mothers who had only 1 or 2 visits. So clearly dosage makes a difference. The second significant predictor had to do with the total health risks. With the addition of each additional health risk factor present with the mom, the odds of a healthy birth decreased by 29%. Again, these may be things that are intuitive, but now we have some data to back that up. The next thing I want to share with you is a look at some county level data, which ultimately is where these changes are going to manifest given the saturation of these programs in the community. We were able to collect data in cooperation with the Department of Public Health. They provided the data listed there in the bullets, and also the Child Death Review Team, who were able to provide detailed information on infant-child deaths. I think it's important for you to recognize, and it's important even for me to remember this, that we've got sort of overlapping time frames here. The data provided by Public Health and CDRT runs through 2016, whereas our program-specific data and findings runs from 2015 through June of 2018. So we don't have any data that's newer than 2016 from the public sources. To assess the countywide impacts related to the First 5 Perinatal Initiative, the baseline year used was 2013, and that was used because it was the full year prior to any of this actually taking shape. So the next couple of slides, I want to just point out the arrows across the bottom represent the time frame when First 5 was funding these programs, the period of time in the middle where they were getting ramped up and they were pilot testing and working through the kinks and getting their programs up and running. And then the darkest part of that arrow shows the time frame when the programs were implemented and fully operational. So as you note here, between 2013 and 2016, there was an 18% decrease in the percentage of African American babies born preterm, and a 37% decrease in the disparity between African American births with the births of all other population groups. So again, note that the changes really became more dramatic after 2015. With regard to birth weight, between 2013 and 2016, there was an 11% increase in the percentage of African American babies born preterm and a 28% increase in disparity. But note that the percentage decreased after 2015 when these First 5 funded programs were fully implemented and operational. So this is one of those areas where it will be important to continue to follow the trends on an annual basis.
Can I interrupt there real quick?
Sure.
Would any of that have to do with the number of twin sets that were born?
So, yeah, some of this data, well, the data is obviously influenced by the twins.
Right.
So that is a qualifier or a clarification that's explained better in the report, the full report, where that really kind of shows, impacts the data. Okay. But yes, that's why we wanted to call out the fact that there were so many twins born in this time frame.
Commissioner Wagstaff?
Thank you very much. This is fascinating. Just a couple of quick definitional questions. Mm-hmm. How do you define low birth weight?
Tracy, what's that number again? Or
it's less than
5 pounds, 8 ounces.
Is that like a recognized standard?
2,500 grams, I think.
And how do you define preterm?
Less than 37 weeks.
Less than 37?
Fewer than 37 weeks. There you go. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So did I read through this yet for you? Yes, thank you. Okay. Now we're going to look at trends for all infant deaths per 1,000 live births. So this is for all causes in children under 1 year of age. Between 2013 and 2016, there was a 45% decrease in the rate of African American infant deaths and a 76% decrease in disparity with all infant deaths among other races. Since First Five Sacramento and county and community partners began investing in programs and strategies to decrease African American child death in 2013, the changes appear to be trending in the desired direction. It's important to continue tracking these annual rates to determine whether these are part of a real trend moving forward.
Can we just stop there for a second and acknowledge what that data indicates? I mean,
we wanted to jump through the ceiling when we saw this data, but you want to be cautious because we're on the front end of what we think is a trend, but it's very, very promising. So looking, oh, did I do it again? Julie? I didn't watch.
Click it and then go to previous.
See, I didn't know how to get to the menu. Okay. I'll catch up. So this slide looks at infant perinatal condition death, that's any kind of perinatal conditions. And between 2013 and 2016, there was a 10% increase in the rate of African American infant deaths due to all perinatal conditions and a 17% decrease in disparity. So again, this, I want to keep reminding you that 2015 is the year when everything is really embedded and fully operational. So it's just important to recognize that and keep tracking these trends as annual data becomes updated, especially county level data.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Excuse me. To your point, if you look at the difference between 15 and 16, after the funding kicked in, that's it appears to be a very dramatic decrease in just a 1 year period of time.
That's not when the funding began, but it's when the programs were really up on their feet.
Thank you.
But,
Thank you. Right.
Now I'm going to touch on the infant sleep-related death data, which is kind of a transition for CAPSI to tell its story about the Safe Sleep Baby campaign. But as you can see in this slide, between 2013 and 2016, there was a 54% decrease in African American infant sleep-related deaths and a 62% increase in disparity. This is huge. and these rates have been coming down for years. I shouldn't say it quite that way, but I've been working with CAPSI for years, and they've seen this decline before when they did a Safe Sleep Baby campaign, and then it was interrupted, loss of funding, and it fell back into the old pattern. So this is a good reminder of how important it is to sustain programs that really make a difference. So that's all I have for sort of the overview, and I just want to not remind you, but just say we've really, really enjoyed being part of this process. We are turning the keys over to the Applied Survey Research First Five Evaluator, so they'll be continuing to track and monitor these programs and the outcomes for the future. And I also want to acknowledge Tracy for being an amazing project manager to do the work she's done. And oh, what a relief it is. Thank
Dr.
you.
Kasiri?
Oh.
Thank you. Thank you for that presentation. And I just wanted to actually add a few data points that you didn't point out. When we looked at the countywide data in 2013, there was still a gap in entry into first trimester prenatal care. And when we looked at it in 2016, for the first time that I can remember, the African American rate had exceeded the Healthy People 2020 rate. So again, kudos to the work that's being done. And also there's always been a gap with teen pregnancy, and now we've seen that gap really reduce. So again, credit to the work that's being done.
Commissioner Wagstaff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, congratulations to everybody who's been working on this. I remember well when we started this effort back in 2012, and the results, as you said, it's a trend, and we should continue to monitor it, but certainly is more than just encouraging, it's exciting. And the point was made, Mr. Chairman, by one of the speakers earlier that wondering why this wasn't a larger effort, a more of a statewide effort. And Julie, I would just encourage you, to the extent you haven't already, to share this effort with your association. We have a new administration coming in. I think this is some very important data to share that would likely add benefits well beyond Sacramento. So it's
yes, absolutely. And we're working with a couple other county commissions throughout the state who are also working on
I figured
these
you
efforts.
might be, yeah. Thank you.
But why stop there? I mean, I'll be attending the annual NACO conference, National Association of Counties, and I sit on their board. I'll be down in San Diego later this week for that. And as I did at a recent NACO Poverty Summit they had in Fort Worth a year and a half ago, I brought some of the then data that had been compiled and shared that at a table, and I'll be doing the same certainly in just a few days with our national association. Hopefully that garners the attention of counties nationwide.
Right, right.
And our partner, Sierra Health Foundation, one of the activities in their scope of work this year that First Five is partially funding is a statewide convening with state Black Infant Health Program and other counties to sort of share what we're doing here and further those discussions and try for a more statewide collective impact.
Great, thank you.
Commissioner Lee Turner Johnson.
I just want to make a comment that last week I was privileged to attend a profound profound PPI and at Sierra Health, and I hadn't been to one before. Over the year and a half or more, I've been to probably almost all of the FRCs doing tours, but last week many of you, and I remember some of you distinctly last week, were at 7 tables at Sierra Health representing each of the areas. And of course, Dr. Alice Barber was there, pastor, and also there were people from the probation, there were people from CPS. And the point that I want to make here is that always, you know, when you take this kind of a project of any kind on, one has to distill this into numbers that make us accountable and allow us to go after more funding. But I want to just make the point that this is really about relationship-based work. I was so profoundly moved and impressed when I sat there from about 9:30 till I left around 2:30 because you were getting ready to make this presentation today, and I thought I needed to leave. But what especially, the collaboration going on, and really what I want to call out is that some of these people that are here today, that are your CILs and your leaders and your brokers, cultural brokers, got up and told stories that you're not telling today. And the complexity of the factors that are involved in some of these families are probably things that most of us have heard about, but unless you've worked in this kind of work, which I did in Oakland, I've seen this before. But what we have going here is a family, and it is family with that kind of combined compassion that can make this kind of mountain move. And I just want to end by saying that I've heard Supervisor Cerner say it, I've heard Julie say it, I've heard Chet Hewitt say it, that whenever they go anywhere, they bring this with them. And because I have a graduate student that has done research in this, I can tell you there are pockets around the country trying to do this. But I think this one, or it wouldn't have got me attention, the Obama Foundation, when there were many applications. This one is special, and we need to understand that it goes beyond just our focus. This is about community and family that can shift the paradigm that we're living in right now. So thank you so much from my heart.
Dr. Passeri, did you?
No,
okay.
Good luck following that.
Well, let's see what we have in store for you. So thank you to the team at LPC again for all of your work on analyzing the data. Now that you've seen some of the outcomes and results and the positive trend we're hoping to see, we wanted to bring our funded partners forward to really share the stories, because behind all of these numbers, behind all of this work, there are people. Right? These are the families that we're trying to impact. And so each of our funded partners, Child Abuse Prevention Council, we have Well-Spaced Health and Black Mothers United. They're going to come up and share with you a little bit about what their day-to-day work looks like and share with you some of their success stories. So I'd like to start off with inviting Stephanie Biegler from the Child Abuse Prevention Council.
Good afternoon. It is humbling to present to you on behalf of the Safe Sleep Baby Collaborative the nearly 4,000 parents who receive Safe Sleep Baby information and the little over 2,000 parents who have received a crib in the last 3 years, to thank the First Five Commission for your ongoing support. As has been demonstrated, Safe Sleep Baby is indeed reducing infant sleep-related deaths. We are doing so through a collaborative public health model, the spectrum of prevention. The key to Safe Sleep Baby's success, what sets this campaign apart from others, is the integration of the American Academy of Pediatrics Safe Sleep recommendations into a program model that was designed from extensive input from parents and grandparents, particularly African American parents and grandparents. We proudly proclaim that Safe Sleep Baby Sacramento style was created by parents for parents. The core components of cribs, hospital education, graphics, and messages conveyed by Sacramento County parents came specifically from the request of the 200 parents and grandparents who provided input during our development phase. Perfect. The table here includes some of the numbers behind what Lynn just presented in the LPC graph. Safe Sleep Baby's impact, however, is best demonstrated by the 2012 Child Death Review Team data that is not on this chart. In that year, this county was providing no infant safe sleep education. And very sadly, there were 25 infant sleep-related deaths. 10 of those were of African American infants, with a rate of 4.2 per 1,000. Since 2000, we have had 3 infant sleep education campaigns, this being one of them. The other 2, one in 04-05 and in 10-11, were short-lived. They lacked cultural relevance, and when they stopped, deaths increased. And we did not see in either of those 2 programs a reduction in any disproportionality of African American infant deaths. We would also like to note that in the 2016 Child Death Review Team data, there were no deaths of African American infants in the 6 neighborhoods that the Safe Sleep Baby campaign covered. So I do want to piggyback on what Lynn said, in that the longevity of a campaign really will sustain these positive results. Partnerships are critical to Safe Sleep Baby's success. We value our partnerships with all 8 birthing hospitals. They deliver the Safe Sleep Baby message, and they ensure that baby has a safe place to sleep prior to hospital discharge. That is another example of input from parents who said, can you please work a crib in just like you go ahead and work a car seat in before we're discharged? We enhanced our partnership with Child Protective Services because infants with a CPS referral are 2.3 times more likely to die of a sleep-related death. We have appreciated our long-standing relationship with the Birth and Beyond Family Resource Centers, who provide cribs and safe sleep baby education. And in this past year, we launched a partnership with Set a Head Start to train their staff and provide 1-hour safe sleep baby workshops to parents. We have better linked with community incubator leads, specifically Liberty Towers, Arden Arcade, and most recently, the Rose Family Creative Empowerment Center and the Roberts Family Development Center. As I said earlier, the Safe Sleep Baby campaign is concentrated in 6 neighborhoods where historically 2/3 of the infant sleep-related deaths occur. And of course, there is overlap in those communities with the Black Child Legacy Campaign and the community incubator leads. Last year, we actually identified, however, that Safe Sleep Baby needed to improve its reach in those 6 communities. And we leveraged federal national service funding to support this effort. We enrolled 2 rock stars who soon would be AmeriCorps members, Kelly Nixon and Crystal Alexander, who I invite to stand now. Where'd they go? Oh, there they are. Crystal and Kelly combined have more passion and dedication to serve than I have ever witnessed. They were liaisons in the 6 neighborhoods. They shared the Safe Sleep Baby message to businesses, churches, parents, and quite frankly, anyone who would listen. And they were so outstanding in their service, when their 1,700 hours were completed, we couldn't dare think of letting them go, and they are now employed at the CAP Center. So thank you. This funding cycle, we will again gather parent feedback to verify the relevancy of the Safe Sleep Baby message, and we will respectfully make adjustments as needed. And this is bad. And we hope, sincerely hope, that there is no better aha moment for all of us in this room than the satisfaction that First 5 Sacramento investment of $180,000 annually to safe sleep prevention, coupled with fidelity to the Safe Sleep Baby model, truly is saving babies' lives. And it is now my pleasure to invite Stavisha Bowers to share with you her Safe Sleep Baby experience. We would also like to thank Shalonda Allen, who was here during her lunch hour and unfortunately had to leave. But I think Crystal is going to go ahead and break from her shyness and share a little bit of Shalonda's story. So, Stavisha.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for having me here today. What this program means to me, this is my 9th child. However, back before this program started, as a young teenage mom, I didn't know a lot of different things. I didn't know about the Black Infant Health Program. I didn't know about the Black United Mothers Program, which I'm also affiliated with. However, I got to meet wonderful Crystal right here for, the Sleep Baby Safe. So she came out to my home. We got to talking. We did a hour orientation on the whole practices of, children sleeping safe on their backs and the preventing of SIDS and stuff like that, and what it means to me as a mother to just have that extra support and that extra knowledge that, I do reading, but I don't read a lot of stuff. It was just a big help for me and my family. And just for all these different programs that are here today that I've gotten to hear, I look forward to working with other agencies too, but they do mean a lot to me as a young mother and as an African-American mother to just know that there are organizations and agencies out there that do provide knowledge. And if these programs weren't around, what kind of impact it does not have, because not a lot of people get to work with these different agencies.
Shalonda, she is a foster mother of a infant. She was just here and she had to go. She came briefly on her lunch break. She had to take in a family member that had just been born unexpectedly, and in order to get her home approved for CPS, she had to attend our Safe Sleep Baby class to do the education and to make sure that they had a pack and play, our crib, a safe place to sleep the baby when the baby arrived. So there was a very fun experience. I was able to set up that pack and play and assured that baby would have a safe place to sleep before she left. But she expressed to me that this program was very helpful. Of course, taking in a family member when you're unexpectedly and financially not expecting it, to be able to provide that for her is amazing. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Stephanie or the team at CAPC? Okay. I would like to have Wealth-Based Health, Dr. Janine Vera and Brenda Shipp come and talk about their work with pregnant African American women in the community.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon. I must say that I'm truly honored to be standing in front of you today with Brenda Shipp, our Chief Operating Officer, and with our perinatal support advisors, our program manager and CEO, and so many host of other people who have helped to make us so successful. So as you can see from our slide, our biggest success is at the end of the study period, we had over 463 babies born. We had 9 sets of twins, and we're very proud to say we had no deaths. Most importantly, we actually welcomed our baby number 500. So we're very excited about that. Our program successes truly do come from our integrated model. And what we mean by an integrated model is that we combine the medical and our community social support programs. The medical is very specific. It is doing a cervical length ultrasound at 24 to 28 weeks. We also provide essential prenatal vitamins, especially vitamin D, that we check the levels in the mother and then provide supplementation as is needed. But truly, the crux of our program and what you'll hear from some of the mothers who have gone through our program is our cultural broker aspect of the program. The community service, the one-on-one mentoring, the meeting our patients where they are, like we hold so dear at Wealth-Based Health. Our main motto is to meet our patients where they are, so as we can achieve regional health through high-quality comprehensive care, and that's what our program continues to demonstrate. Because our model really does work. You can see at the beginning of the study period, the preterm babies were born at 13% and low birth weights were 12%. At the end of the study period at Wealth-Based Health program, we were at 5% for premature deliveries, and our low birth weights had dropped to 6%.
So we wanted to capture, we were thinking what makes us so successful? We know all the things that Dr. Vera talked about makes us so successful, but what we really discovered, our aha moment was that what makes us so successful is that we have an integrated model of care with access to a team of perinatal support advisors who have life experiences. And most importantly, we have a medical care model which allows staff to have access to medical appointments, medical care. We are able to meet patients where they are, and we know what those things are. One of the things that we found out that it's really the combination of the physician, perinatal support, LCSWs, health educators, and a crisis team. And all of these people have access to the same information about the patient at any given time. So we looked at we had a couple of challenges, and what really helped us with challenges were a couple of things. The perinatal support advisors are actual moms. They've had babies, and when they work with clients, they have a real life experience to talk about. which dispels some of the models that people have had from growing up, what they've been told. These are women who've had children. They can tell them in real time what's happened, what it's been like for them, and what experience and what to expect next. And then our second one, we could not go anywhere at all, even with all that we have, without celebrating our partners. One of the other challenges that we had, housing is a huge issue. And working with our CLIs, they have been able to help us find parents' homes and work with them, so we're very appreciative of the partnership. And we have a couple of people here today. We're very happy about both client, who's a patient both on the medical and cultural broker side, as well as one of our health center supervisors, and they both make up parents who are expecting a baby. And I'd love to have them come down, Matthew Harris and Isis, to talk to you about how the program, both on the medical care side and the cultural broker side, has worked for them.
Hi everyone, my name is Isis Johnson, and I've been a part of this program from the beginning. I'm almost done. I'm in like my 7th trimester, and I am very, very happy that I did this program because I feel like I have a great mentor, Jamila. She has just been great to me. I love just talking to her on our every Thursday conversations between going through the book and all the subjects and everything else, and including even the off-subject things, just about being a mother and how I feel about it and everything. For me, that part was the most important part to me. Like, I feel like she's pretty much family, if you want to say. She just has, for me, done so much. She's just been there anytime I need her, through a phone call or a text, a crisis, anything and everything. And I just want to thank her for being my mentor, and Matthew for bringing this whole group brokerage program to me, and I really appreciate it.
Great. Anyone else?
So I've only had a little bit of experience with the cultural broker program because I am working full time. But Jamila and I have had multiple conversations about what our expectations are, me and Isis as being future parents, our expectations for our future child, Zamar, and just kind of answering those questions that new parents don't know and that we look to for our previous parents, just to kind of have somebody, because she's our same age, is kind of like more, makes it feel more comfortable than just going to my mom about certain things, even though I love my mom. but yeah, so I do really appreciate this program, because without it, I feel like both of us would be really lost right now and would not know really what to expect with our baby coming next month.
Very good. Thank you.
And as he said, I'm his mom. And I came from a long lineage of, I was born in the South, so it's all about, it takes a village. And that's what I was taught. And from being with Jamila, I also learned that the times that I let Matthew sleep in the bed with me, and he rolled over and woke me up because he's touching my hand, that I could have killed him, but you live and you learn. And this program has actually taught me, because at first I was thinking, why do you need that? What? You got me. I have all the experience you need. But evidently I didn't have that much experience, because I might have killed him and his brother. So I've learned that this is something that
with grandmothers being younger and younger every year, not every grandmother is prepared for the next lineage. They're not. Not everyone is being taught the basics of camaraderie or family or given a good foundation. With this program, I think that it's giving these young parents, like my son and my goddaughter, it's giving them a good foundation that I already kind of started with Matthew, but with Isis, it's giving her more of her being free to be able to make good decisions based on the information that Jamila's given her. And Jamila's given her a lot of information that I knew, but I didn't do none of that because I wasn't taught none of that. But, you know, I just think that if you keep going forward with this, especially with grandmothers being younger and younger, these younger grandmothers are going to be able to show the new generations how to do it right the first time, not having to have things happen and then you learn from that mistake.
Well done.
We'll just close this with Baby 500. And Isis and Matthew, who just spoke.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess the pressing question is, when can we meet Baby 500 and can we snuggle it? Is that no? I don't understand where.
She's still really new. She's only about 3 weeks old.
We don't mind.
We'll see what we can do.
That's great.
Thank you to the team at WellSpace Health. Any questions for the team at WellSpace? Okay. Last but not least, I'd like to ask Shannon Reed to come forward and share information about Her Health First and Black Mothers United.
Thanks, Linda.
Thank you.
We'll see if this is going to stay. Good afternoon. My name is Shannon Reed. I'm with Her Health First, home of Black Mothers United. It is so hard to believe that we are at the close of that 3-year contract period. The time period has been pivotal, not only just for our agency, but the women and the families that we serve. And I could not be prouder of the strong, talented, and compassionate women on our team. And I will ask our team to stand. I'd like to thank the Commission and the team at First 5 Sacramento for your continued investment and support around this issue. And also thank you to LPC for laying out the data so clearly so that hopefully I can just offer some anecdotal points and reflection about the past 3 years. As we entered into the 17-18 fiscal year, we were on the heels of what was truly our most challenging program year. 16-17 was a year of leadership transition for the agency. We faced staffing challenges, and we also had the loss of the Birthing Project Clinic. At the onset of 17-18, we started to regain our momentum and took time to reflect on the previous year so that we could continue to learn and grow from our challenges. We also were able to reflect on the significant program expansion that this 3-year contract brought us. I mean, we nearly tripled our staff and the number of clients that we were going to be serving within that initial 12-month period of 15-16. It was also the first time that we as an agency acknowledged the significance of the loss of the Birthing Project Clinic, and as an agency with a 30-year legacy in the community that hinged on this clinic, we had to reestablish ourselves and our identity, as well as our outreach and recruitment strategies for client enrollment. Having been accustomed to the majority of our clients coming from the clinic, we had to shift gears and identify methods for truly reaching those who are hard to reach and not connected to services. Oh, I guess I could show you our PowerPoint at some point also. I'll just keep going. Well, let's see. We'll just go so you get a whole preview. Let's see. Okay, wait, we're gonna go back again. There we go. So just some pictures of our pretty mamas.
And where is this photo taken?
This was taken at the Fruit Ridge Community Collaborative. This is room 9. We're also co-located there with the Fruit Ridge Stockton Community Incubator Lead and on site with River Oaks Family Resource Center. So there is just a breadth of different resources that exist in that site.
And the Hawk Institute and Hub and a whole bunch of other folks that are
Exactly
also very dedicated to this initiative.
Exactly. It's a phenomenal place to be co-located because we truly can offer our families that continuum of care. We literally walk them down the hallway, as I'll share a story with you shortly. We made it a point to learn from our challenges, leveraging those opportunities to reconnect ourselves with our mission of prioritizing women's health through culturally responsive support programs, as well as re-examine our core values. And we made it a point to keep one question central with every decision that we made. And that question was, how does this impact the lives of the women and the families that we serve? Ultimately, this all led to our agency rebranding, where we changed our name from Center for Community Health and Wellbeing to Her Health First, a change that was an exciting and engaging process for our clients and for the community. These shifts and opportunities for learning and reflection resulted ultimately in an 84% increase in productivity over the program year 17-18. So we were very excited by that. I believe in the 16-17 program year, we enrolled 75 new moms, and in 17-18, we were able to enroll 139 new moms. So it was a pretty good increase for us. Our position, I guess I can go to the next slide now. Here we go. Okay, here we go. So our position as a community-based agency has enabled us to cultivate a long-standing trusted reputation in the community, reaching women with the highest socio-emotional risk factors to be nimble and effectively adapt to changes in the medical, political, and community climate that impact our clients' needs. Our clients have been a direct pipeline to program improvement on an ongoing basis, whether it's through discussions at a Mommy Mingle meeting, a quality assurance survey, or a focus group. We are continually seeking input and feedback from our clients, ensuring that our program design is a direct result of their input. We learned to watch our data closely, looking for trends that would inform strategy for service delivery. For example, we recognized that we were seeing more second and third time moms, some who had gone through our program before. Knowing that no two pregnancies are the same and that the risk for infant mortality is still imminent with each subsequent pregnancy, we had to identify ways in which to let moms with multiple children know that our program would still be relevant and critical to the health of their baby. We also really focused on developing an agency culture that promoted self-care. And self-care is fundamental for everyone, and we made these efforts to integrate this culture, as it is especially critical for our staff who are supporting their clients through difficult and often traumatic scenarios. By integrating self-care practices, we are striving to prevent overwork, overplay, burnout, and unhealthy living. We know that in order to provide top quality support to the moms and the families we serve, we have to be healthy individually, as a team, and as an agency. Let's see. I feel like it should just click and go. As far as our partnership goes, these are just a handful of the over 40 partnerships that we maintain. Our model truly is about building relationships with the community, social service agencies, and healthcare providers. And without these partnerships, we would not be seeing the successes that we are seeing today. And as I'm sure a lot of them would testify, it felt often like we were building the plane as we were flying it, trying to really just be adaptive to, the various things would come at us. With these new models, we never, from day to day sometimes wouldn't know what kinds of things would come up and what client needs would be relevant. Specifically, we have a very significant partnership with the Black Child Legacy Campaign, and at the end of the contract period, Her Health First was present in 4 of the 7 community incubator leads. We have our pregnancy coaches co-located in the CILs, and we provide perinatal support and workshops to pregnant women working with those CILs, and also try to cross-refer whenever possible. We received feedback from our CIL partners stating that having pregnancy coaches from the neighborhoods or who had gone through BMU themselves has created a cultural connection that establishes an immediate level of trust based on familiarity and shared value and experiences. Our staff also participate in the MDT meetings, and collectively our partnership with the Black Child Legacy Campaign has made it possible to offer a continuum of care to clients. As Supervisor Cerna mentioned earlier, with the Fruit Ridge Community Collaborative, a specific example of how it is really working so well was just a few months ago. As I was walking down the main hallway, I intercepted a couple who was walking their baby in their stroller. The baby was about a year old. We just sort of said hello, and then they were asking about what services were offered there. And come to find out, the mother was actually one of our former clients from Black Mothers United. And so she had remembered that there were, different opportunities for resources and whatnot. After we were able to continue talking and, shared some of the information about the things that were going on in the CIL, we found out that they were actually experiencing homelessness for the past 2 months. And so I was able to take them down to the MDT space through the community incubator lead and get them connected with GED services. They were able to get together with DHS and a multitude of different things, all within that same space. So had that, location not been there, that would have certainly been an unfortunate missed opportunity. I'd like to bring Kenya Fagbimi up. Excuse me, Kenya. And she is our program director, and she's going to share just another example of the ways in which our staff are able to connect with our families.
Hi, good afternoon. I just have a story of what kind of happens behind the scenes and sometimes after hours. And sometimes in our data, there's things that go on that's not necessarily collected in the data that you see today, because when you're dealing with people's lives, sometimes someone will show up that don't quite fit the criteria of the program that you're providing. So, but before I do that, I just want to acknowledge, if she's still here, LaToya Freeman, who, if you could just stand up for a second. LaToya came in 2 years ago and hit the ground running, and she was a significant part of the partnership that we had with CAPC, providing the safe baby sleep education. And she served 260 families that she provided education to. And I want to give a clap to her. So, talked about them after hours. We had a woman that came into the country from Africa who was referred through a partnership. We have, who's at Arden? She's at Arden Arcade. And at the time, Danielle Lawrence had connected with one of our pregnancy coaches who's no longer here with us, but her name is Angel Bechet. And she worked along, she referred this woman to us, and I want to say it was like a Friday, they connected, talked on the phone. By Monday, the mother had delivered. She had something going on. She went in on an emergency and thought she was having 3 babies, which turned out to be 4 babies. So this mom had quadruplets that day. And, we could not walk away from her. She's, our services, you have to be pregnant, right? She didn't get enrolled before she delivered, so it's outside of our criteria. But we needed to meet the needs of this mom because she would have fallen between the cracks. So this mom delivers at UC Davis. She was sent home a few days later with 4 boxes to sleep her babies in. And we had to kind of think outside of the box as far as education for that mom, because it's going to look a little bit different with 4 babies, with little space, and 4 pack and plays not going to fit in there. So we had to do some education about how to keep the baby safe. We had to connect this mom to outside services. We reached out to our community partners, all the community incubators, and we put out a Facebook post. So Shannon, our executive, put out a Facebook post, and people started responding, and diapers and wipes and all well, she was breastfeeding, so not formula, but all kind of things came in for the family. And we reached out to a partner of ours that helps with our baby showers. She committed to going every Friday and spending time with that mother and just helping her get the rest that she needed and just get a break. And it was really a community effort and a collaborative effort that came together. The Roberts Family Development Center, they came together and put some money towards a quadruplet stroller for this mom. It was just really a big effort that came together to meet the needs. And one of the things that Angel did was opened her home, and it was a few months down the line. We stayed connected. A few months down the line, we created what we called a Joy Day. And we brought the mother in, and we had gifts for her that we talked about that self-care. We really role model that within our agency, and we want our clients to understand the significant importance of self-care. So we showed her, we bought things for her that would aid in that self-care, and really just made it about her and got her away from the babies for a minute and just really loved up on her. So she had a sisterhood and a family that, and I believe Commissioner Johnson, you talked about that family and relationship, and that's really what it was all about, is family and relationship. Family getting, and these partners getting together and just making a significant impact in that mother's life. And so, just thank you.
See if I can get us to our last slide. Oh, we're going backwards. Here we go. We already started talking about some of those success stories. But I think the last one, and one of our greatest and unintended successes. What's that? Oh, yeah. I was like, what's going on? Yeah, those are those 4 babies. They're so sweet. But yes, one of the greatest and unintended outcomes that we've seen is that we've had the opportunity to employ 3 of our former clients as pregnancy coaches. We make it a core focus to elevate our clients to become experts who can in turn assist other women as they navigate their unique pregnancy journeys. And I would be remiss to not acknowledge those 3 coaches. So if the 3 of you could stand up. These 3 incredible women are balancing caseloads of an average of 15 moms each, while also managing the job of being mommies to young ones under 5 themselves. So they really are just an exemplary example of what it takes. And lastly, to wrap up, it has just been an incredible privilege to have the opportunity to provide these services to the women that we are serving. These past 3 program years have enabled us to identify our agency's greatest asset, and that is heart. The women on our team, the mothers that we serve, and the partners that we have had the pleasure of working with has taught us that there is no bravery or boldness without heart. There is no spirit or support without heart, and it is with heart that we will continue to decrease the disproportionate infant mortality rate here in Sacramento. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thank you, Commissioners. I know that was a lot of information that we've shared with you today, but hopefully it gave you a really nice picture from the broadest level, Black Child Legacy Campaign, all the way down to hearing information from our programs and clients that have benefited from the program. So with that, that concludes our presentation for today.
Great. Thank you, Linda. And thanks to all the presenters. Very, very encouraged to hear all the different measures of success thus far, and I think we all understand that we have certainly more in front of us to do. And as I was recently discussing with someone, we're talking about the 3 out of the 4 leading causes of death that are kind of in the wheelhouse of first 5 due to the age group of the children that is affected by those types of death. And it's going to be that 4th, which is the third-party homicide part, which is going to be an admitted big challenge for all of us. And that's going to take as much dedicated effort involving law enforcement, involving probation, involving other partners, nonprofit or otherwise, here in Sacramento County to address that as well. And I know that everyone, while today is very happy, and rightly so, about the incremental success. We ought not to collectively lose sight of the fact that we have more to do. And with that, I really do just again want to thank from the bottom of my heart all the great work from all of our partners. Now, I know that we have commissioners that want to chime in, but we also have some extremely patient public speakers that wanted to address the commission. So I'm going to beg the commission's indulgence at this point and then call public speakers first, and then we'll have commission chime in at that point. So with that, Mr. Frederick Gale.
Frederick Gale, resident of North Holland for 40-some years. But today it turned out to remind me of Macbeth, A Day at the Forum, and I suggest that you read American Dilemma. And I had some other commentaries to make, but I'll pass. I have another day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gale. All right. Deborah Cummings and Margot Santana.
Good afternoon. My name is Deborah Cummings. I am the BCLC Steering Committee member. Also, I am co-founder of Community Mothers of 95838, and I also have the pleasure that standing here with me is my community mother / culture broker, Margot Santana of Del Paso Heights. We have Sasha White, one of our CLR members. If there's any other CLR members in the audience, you can come on down. We represent 7 areas here in Sacramento, and we are what you call Community Leadership Roundtable. It's just one part of that puzzle that we represent in a whole group here today. I don't want to sit here and take up all the time. I'm good at speaking, but what I do want to say, I am what you call an advocate, and I advocate in third-party homicide. I am what you call after-hours employee for Del Paso Heights. I pride myself in handling all crisis situations. We have a lot of families out here that are going through some serious situations and tough times, so we pride ourselves on community mothers first, navigating that, family and making sure that they have some wraparound services. So I'm going to let one of our CLRs come up and say a little bit about what we do.
Okay, hi, my name is Tanya Van Garrett, and I sit on the CLR board for Fruitridge, Stockton, and Oak Park. Not only am I a resident, but I am a survivor of third-party homicide. My son was killed in 2016. And with that being said, without Black Child Legacy, it was just invaluable for me to even go on. So with that, with the support and all the things that they did for me, it allowed me to speak more with my community and be boots down with my community. So Black Child Legacy is not only needed, but it's a necessity. It's something that our neighborhoods need. So I just kind of want to tap into some of the things that I do as far as CLR. I do pop-ups. I go to stores that a lot of people don't want to sit at. I go to these rural areas where where we need to be. And I talk about Black Child Legacy campaign, and I talk about some of the things that they need, because we need to know what the residents need, what our community needs. Without them, we can't work on. And we have all kind of things that we experience with the youth. I'm a CEO of my own nonprofit now, 21 Reasons. So I just took about 16 youth on Saturday to a robotics center. So just a collaboration that we are doing in our community, where we're collaborating with different neighborhoods in order to keep the unnecessary things that are happening. So Black Child Legacy is not only needed, but it's a want.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the shirts.
I'm Sasha Vogt. I am one of the CLRs. To tell you a little bit more about what CLRs do, some of us, and Margot in particular and I, we were there with the original Blue Ribbon Commission when we had the meetings out at the Hagenwood Park and Urban League and other areas throughout the community. So we've been engaged from the inception in this, and we have been so excited to be part of this as it's gone along. CLRs serve not just as members of the roundtable, but we all have very specific roles in the areas of first responders to crisis in the community, cultural brokers, and quality assessment. So it's important for us to share with you that we see firsthand when we come to report back. We don't come to a roundtable once every quarter. We're out there daily. We're kind of the soft campaign for the committee, or for the campaign. We're out at every event in the community. We're there, and seeing firsthand what the commission is doing and sharing with the community. We've also been very excited to be able to partner with other care providers, particularly in the Safe Sleep and the Grow With Me campaigns, and that's enabled us to reach not only parents but providers of African American children and ECE students who will be out in the field, and will continue to share this going forward. So here.
Thank you.
Margot. Again, thank you all. I am the culture broker of Del Paso Heights and North Highlands and Foothill, and it's just been an honor for culture brokers to come in under the umbrella of CPS. If you just go into homes with me, I would love any one of you to come shadow me one day and just show what this work really is about. Guarantee you, at the end of the day, it is worth every penny that's spent, every penny that's funded to help our families to get back and to work with our families to teach them how to be family members again. It's hard when you get taken out your home for so many months and you have to come back and try. It's strained. So what our job is to come in and teach everybody how to get back to that homestead again. Thank you again for allowing our time.
Thank you.
And just one last thing, our motto is, we are boots to the ground, 25-8. Thank you.
All right.
Oh, and I want to say these lovely shirts that we are wearing, actually one of my culture broker family from CPS, 2 Grand High students and 1 Norwood created this beautiful shirt, boots on the ground, and they just thought that was one of the main words, so they wanted to try to put something with boots on the ground. So here it is, and we want to thank you all and wear that shirt with pride.
Yes.
And think about those culture broker kids that created this shirt for you all today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Ross Schneider. Is Ross here?
Maybe left.
There's some folks had to leave. Kenneth and Tosser Johnson.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for having me. My name's Kenneth Duncan. I'm with the Greater Sacramento Urban League, and our mission is to educate, empower, and employ. And I'm proudly representing the CIL in Oak Park. Our CIO works collaboratively with community members, partner organizations, and local representatives and community members to do so many different things in Oak Park. Just to name a couple, during the holiday season, we did food drives. This upcoming week, we're doing a toy drive. We have placed homeless people in housing. Youth have received internships through our program. And on Friday nights and Saturdays, when a lot of crime happens, we take it upon ourselves, to round up youth, take them to, Kings games, or, just have talks and try to lower some of that gang violence going on in Oak Park. So I see a lot of positive things going on in Oak Park, and we want them to continue to happen, and we know there's a lot of work that still needs to be done. Every Friday, I want everybody to remember this, every Friday we're doing peace walks in Oak Park from 5 to 6. This next month in December and January, we'll meet at Shiloh Baptist Church, and we walk from 5 to 6. We take different routes through Oak Park to promote nonviolence and just positive impact in the neighborhood. We've had as little as 7 people walking with us to groups as big as 30 people. we believe it's just spreading the word, spreading the message. There's a lot of new residents in Oak Park who don't know the history of Oak Park, and we're walking around door to door, letting people know we're promoting the nonviolence, and we want to keep people safe in our neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Tina Roberts. The Tina Roberts.
Good afternoon. Tina Roberts, Roberts Family Development Center, one of the incubators. You've seen the best. Well, they're leaving, but the people who actually go out in the streets and do the work. You know, it takes courage to do the hard work, and you all have demonstrated that you have courage by supporting our efforts. Community taking care of community. This is a model that you have to be proud of, that you can demonstrate across the nation that it takes a lot to take care of families that need the support to be contributing, healthy members of our society. And you said that it was worth it to invest in that. And so I want to say, and we want to say thank you. We could not do it without the financial support that you have provided with us. We have set a great foundation. We got a lot of work to do, but it's paying off. It's working. So I ask you to continue supporting us, continue to support the residents of this city. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Tina. Okay, that's all the public speakers on this item, so we'll go to the commission. Now, this is a non-action item. It's a presentation for the benefit of the commission and the public. Our first commissioner up in the queue is Mr. Moak.
Ooh, yay. I'll try to be quick with just 3 things. I love the 25/8. Had you ever heard that before? They work at 25/8. I love rather than 24/7. That's good. The first thing is that we could have all the great programs for home visitation programs, health programs, nutrition, breastfeeding, but if babies are dying, then we can't deliver them. So the fact that there was a real investment to this is still just, I'm so happy and appreciative that that happened. And despite he probably won't want it, I think Kathy and I have been a part of this commission for a while. I think since 2000 something, single digits, 6, or you were 4 or 3, I don't know. So I think I've been on it since 2005, and there was a lot of talk. This issue is not new. Black babies dying disproportionately. And there had been so many talks and so many town halls. I can remember attending multiple of them. So many people that were certainly passionate about the issue, but no one took the next step. And sometimes you just need that person that can light a spark, the tipping point, whatever you want to, however you want to characterize it. And Phil Cerna finally did that and kicked us into a whole new, that's right, totally. He won't take credit for it, but he should, because he was the one that really implored us as a community, as a commission for sure, but really this community to talk about it in a new way with funding behind it for the first time. He talks about the community has owned this. This has been a community-driven program from those first days at Hagenwood and the discussions around the Blue Ribbon Commission, but it wouldn't have started, none of that would have started if it wasn't for him and his foresight and his commitment to putting money behind this issue. So kudos to him, seriously. It's so much talk before, and you deserve a ton of credit for that. And then to all the people many of who had to go back and save people's lives, because that's really what they're doing. I know there's the colloquialism about, oh, we're not saving lives here. That is not true with the people that filled up this room an hour or 2 hours ago. You all were people, those of you still here, you are people that are saving lives every day. Whether it's the bringing baby 500 into the world, or distributing a crib, or working on the streets with grandmothers and mothers and babies, unborn and otherwise every single day. You will not find enough credit coming your way from this commission, with me included, and all of us up here. We're so inspired and honored to be part of this ride. When I think about it too, from the investment perspective, when this room was filled, Like, this is what has been created. This is like the team that should be national and should be statewide and should be in every county for sure. But this is the team that's doing it, right? Like, these are all the people that we are going to battle on this issue with in Sacramento County, and I'm so fortunate to be a part of it. So well done to you.
Thank you. Any other comments from commissioners? I know it's been a long afternoon,
Yeah.
but a great afternoon. So, anyhow, again, thanks to everyone for all you're doing. Keep up the terrific work. You've got the wholehearted support of this commission behind you, 100%. You have the support of the Board of Supervisors, 100%. And we look forward to future afternoons where we can hear about even greater successes. So, thank you. Okay. With that, our next item, commission member comments. Any comments from commissioners? Nothing? Okay, all right. Well, I am going to then end by wishing everyone happy holidays, and I know that this is a time of year that we really look forward to in terms of spending time with our families, and it's also a great time to reflect on the great work that this commission does and the time and energy that you dedicate, each and every one of you, to service in your own right, to make sure that we're committed to early childhood development and early childhood health here in Sacramento County. And again, as I've said many times before, I'm really, really, really proud of the work that we do here. So with that, we are adjourned. Yeah, that was great.